Delta from Joe Anime Games here. This is Jaden's Society of Light deck. This is a really cool deck. We just updated it. This is where we see the Neos and the Neo-Spacians first played. So without further ado, let's jump into the parts that are not new. Avian, Bersantrix, Clayman, Neos, that's the new one. Obviously the other three weren't. We saw him before. And Sparkman for his normal heroes. Neos is cool, becomes the main monster, kind of like Dark Magician. Same stats, weird. But yeah, so the E-Heroes, you make fusions with them. That's what E-Heroes do best. Card Trooper. Boy, is this card good. Saw a lot of competitive play there for a long time. It was shown off by Jaden. It's pretty good in his deck too. I mean, 1900 attack, great in character deck duels. It's really strong. Anytime Card Troopers sends Dandelion, you're very happy. Another card that saw a lot of competitive play. Jaden's decks don't always feel like the strongest character decks, but it's interesting that they do have some really good cards, like Mirror Force and Solemn Judgment in a Season 1 deck. Card Trooper and Dandelion in this deck. Onto some more heroes. Blade Edge, Bubbleman, which we do play with an errata. You can see a list of all our erratas in the errata document in the description. Then Necroshade and Wildheart. These cards are all pretty familiar. Every season, Jaden duels a lot. I think we see him do a lot more individual duels than even other main characters like, say, Yugi, and he plays a ton of cards. Every Jaden deck requires that we trim down quite a bunch. Because this one has a lot of his heroes and a lot of his Neo-Spacians, it means that we really had to trim down a lot on his spells and traps mostly. Alright, here's the Neo-Spacians. Air Hummingbird. I really like this one. They don't always have the strongest effects. I mean, life point gain is pretty good in some situations. Aqua Dolphin. Ripping a card from hand can be pretty good. Now, in Jane's deck, you gotta have a stronger monster. Not always going to be the case, but it's a decent effect. Though, you know, the stats on all the Neo-Spacians are weak. Dark Panther can be useful. I guess Flare Scarab can boost itself. Then you have Glow Moss and Grand Mole. So Grand Mole, I'm going to sound like a broken record, but this one also saw a lot of competitive play. Turns out that in some situations, forcing stuff that your opponent may have tributed or summoned from the extra deck, think the fusion deck, back to their hand is pretty good. So yeah, that's the last Neo-Spacian. I think it's a really cool concept that you kind of like contact fuse with Elemental Hero Neos with each of these. There's 6 different ones. It's definitely a cool concept, and we hopefully have built the Jaden deck. 40 cards, right? Don't play a lot of stuff that really lets you actually make his Neo-Spacian fusions. It's a little hard sometimes to get Neos and another Neo-Spacian on board to contact fuse. Those of you that have probably played this deck know that. By the way, a lot of the people that watch these videos, a lot of you watching right now, are probably not subscribed. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell. We have over 100 character decks on the channel, bringing out more constantly, like the 4 we just did in our Society of Lightwave we're in the middle of right now. And we do lots of duels, so make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell. Rallis the Star Beast. So I think more than the first season, we really saw Jaden branch out to play a bunch of different monsters this season that weren't just Neo-Spacians and weren't just elemental heroes. Spell Striker, pretty good. Get a little damage, don't take damage. And then his last monster, Wing Creepo, you know, making a reappearance. For the spells, we have Common Soul, E-Emergency Call, so some of that E-Hero support's still there. Fake Hero, pretty good if you want to try to get Neos out. Fifth Hope, Pot of Avarice is a pretty good card. Graceful Charity, really good, what can you say? H-Heated Heart, Miracle Fusion, Neo-Space. So this is the card you really want to see to make sure that your Neo-Spacian, well, really your elemental hero Neos fusions, stay on the field. Jaden does have a few field spells in this deck. I mean, you're going to have to balance that. We thought his field spells were good, really helped what his deck was trying to do, and were worth including. But, you know, maybe in your Jaden deck you cut down some of the field spells, include more of the other support. Again, Jaden plays a lot of cards, so there's a lot of different ways you could go with his deck. Oh, Oversoul, Polymerization, Pot of Greed, So you got Pop Greed and Graceful Charity in here. Our Righteous Justice, Silent Doom, great for pulling back Neos. And E-Hero too, you can make the other fusions, but great for pulling back Neos if you want to try to make one of those fusions with Neos. Skyscraper, always going to be such a strong card at letting your E-Heroes kind of punch above their weight. Skyscraper 2 Hero City, I love this card when it came out. You don't always get us on back a hero. You know, they can play a field spell over it because we play our character deck duels with the original field spell rules. But, you know, when it sticks around when you get heroes back, pretty strong effect. And then his last spell is some more revival in the Shallow Grave. By the way, guys, if you haven't checked out our Jaden versus T-Bone duel, make sure you check that out here. T-Bone played Monarchs. Pretty fun to see Jaden go up against them. And then for his traps, there is Hero Ring, Hero Signal. It's a pretty slim trap lineup, and there's a bunch of traps he played this season that they don't make. Hero Spirit, and Negate Attack. Pretty slim, but this is a pretty good trap lineup, and it gets you a lot of his hero traps. So Jaden's fusion deck, woo, it's quite big this season. You have Elemental Hero Electrum. We're going to do the original heroes first. These are the same ones that he can make in his 7 stars deck. And then we'll move on to the Neos fusions. So Elemental Hero Electrum, Flame Wingman, classic, you know, it's always going to be there. Elemental Hero Mariner, Mudball Man. You've seen our 7 stars Jaden deck. Not a lot of this, if any of it, will be surprising. Necroid Shaman, Rampart Blaster, Shining Flare Wingman. I really like this one. One of my favorites. Steam Healer, Tempest, Thunder Giant, Wild Edge. There's a lot, guys. And then his last of the traditional hero fusions you make with Polymerization, Wild Wingman. On to his Elemental Hero Neos fusions. You have Elemental Hero Aqua Neos. These guys usually have pretty strong effects, like little better versions of their small Neo-Spacian counterpart. Dark Neos. I almost said Dark Panther. Flare Neos. Glow Neos. And Grand Neos. And now some of you may notice that Air Neos is not here. He did not play Air Neos. We're holding it back for a Season 3 deck, so that's where you'll see it. And we are doing a Dimension World arc after this Society of Light arc wraps up. But there you go. That is Jaden's 40-card deck with a ton of fusions for Society of Light. We're really happy that we updated it. We think we've made it better, and hopefully you guys agree.
We really hope you guys enjoyed that content.
We've faithfully recreated over 100 decks from the anime and have a lot of duels with them, so make sure you go check those out.
And as always, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you know when new content drops.